Alright, just going to get right into it. Not quite sure why this particular memory has resurfaced. If it has anything to do with one of the last lives I did, sharing, yet another person I knew that is no longer with us. Inevitably, that's going to catch up with all of us. Life will catch up with all of us, as does the end. One night, there was a and it was all centered around this group page that I and Josh created on Facebook around the Stuck in the Middle podcast, and it was always a little bit of a chaotic page that we had to make it private because it got a little spicy. People got a little crazy, especially when it came to representing their ideologies. You know, the memes and the some of the rage baiting, some of the bigotry, straight up racism. The humor was very unique and a little spicy for Facebook. But lo and behold, this page is still there, and by God, if I put in the search engine this person's name, I know I'll be able to find him. Maybe it'll help give me some context as to just recollecting. Wow, I just did a remix. No, recollecting this one night, and it was the last night that I ever spoke to this individual. I'm gonna avoid saying his name. I'm gonna have to give a code name or something here. Let's just go with Chris. Yeah. No, I did that with the last one. Jeez. Let's say Dayron. Okay. So Dayron was definitely a lefty representative. He liked me a lot when he met me. I was still more liberal principled on that political page. Salute to your actions. This might be a depressing little anecdote. It's just a memory that's been scratching underneath the surface, and you ever have one of those memories where you just suddenly find yourself recalling that you used to know somebody that's just not alive anymore, and that person's memory is almost completely just gone. You know, you have to really just have some weird, I don't know, thought pop up, and then all of a sudden I know what it is. And that's why I made the thumbnail Uncut Gems. Alright, let me get straight to it. This individual, Dayron, he met me on a political page. I think we got along because we both at the time were Democrats talking about Bernie Sanders. Back in the day of Stuck in the Middle, I was outright a leftist, and he would watch the show to watch me represent the ideas and opinions he liked. And as that changed, as I started to become a Trump supporter, it was very complicated for him. Dayron had a lot of mental challenges. He was very smart. He was very kind. I'd like to think that his politics were not out of sheer ignorance. They were the result of a very big heart. I do believe that to the fullest extent. So this went on for like 2 years, just this banter back and forth, him jumping up in the DMs and asking me like big life questions that I pretend to be, wise to. And when people ask for advice, you don't usually say, I have no idea what I'm fucking talking about. But here you go. Well, did the best I could, I guess. And there was one night that it was a strange one, where he just starts talking to me about the ending of the movie Uncut Gems. Yeah, does it? Could I say, Sir Dad? I think that's the most I'm gonna call your name out. Yeah, dude, I've been watching some of that shit on the side. Fucking insane, wild entertainment, sad above all, but fucking wild. Never gonna understand, the dedication to it. All right, so he DMs me. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he's talking about Adam Sandler's performance at the end of Uncut Gems. Spoiler alert: when he wins after all this conflict. He's in debt, and he's just a guy that can't seem to catch a break, and he takes this big gamble, and there's the guys on the other side of the door. They want to get in there and end the dude's Minecraft account, and he's watching the TV. You're watching this movie, the tension keeps building up, and you think this, he's almost there. He's almost about to get this big break. All of his fighting is paying off, and then we get to see the definitive moment in Uncut Gems, where Sandler's character is just in pure bliss and happiness, because he's finally, you can see he portrayed it well, like, I don't have to fight anymore. This battle is won. I can finally breathe. And he's just lost in that moment, depicted very well in that film. And he's just got a big smile ear to ear. And he's finally opening the door for his would-be executioner, still with this shock and awe that he finally won. A life of struggle, and he's finally won. Bear in mind, this is the conversation that Dayron is having with me in the DM, and it got so deep that it had to go onto the cell phone. And so he's describing this movie to me and talking and focusing hyperly on how the character had that moment of peace, and what was the point of going through all that struggle just to reach the goal and then be taken out, like in the movie. He is unalived. He's gone. His last memory was, I finally made it, and his life is just cut short right then and there. And this notion fascinated my old friend. It fascinated him, and he was very emotional. I recall that he was like kind of crying. He was emotional. He was very emotional. Something else was going on, clearly. And where he wanted to dissect this scene with me. He described it in such a great length, far greater than I just did. And he kept asking me, like, what's the point? And I did my best to just explain, it was the journey, and at the very least, his final memory was, something of being content or happy. And I tried to find a positive for Dayron. I tried my best. Josh remembers this person who I'm codenaming here. So do many of the other old Stuck in the Middle watchers. Well, I do believe that Dayron, shortly after that conversation that I think went on for a couple of hours, it felt like I was really it felt like Dayron was trying to get a reason to go on from me, and I wasn't perhaps fully aware that was the context of the conversation. It didn't feel like the conversation had a life on the line. So after that night, Dayron goes missing for a little bit. Nobody can find him. I cannot remember if he took medication and he left that behind. But remember, once again, intelligent man, young person, and just had a lot of anxiety and some depression. Missing. So didn't know anybody else in his family, and then it happened. The group Stuck in the Middle on Facebook, it's got a couple thousand members, I think, and his brother got word. His brother, who none of us had met before, that Dayron spent a lot of time on this page, and so he went there and he made a big post to give us an update about Dayron. Dayron was found lifeless in a canal. So I guess the official story was shortly after my conversation. He didn't just run out of the house and go missing after the conversation. It was just a couple of days and or nights followed. Dayron stayed in his house, and then he just left. And we can only speculate. I'm trying to remember, because I did get to privately speak with the brother. What was the circumstances here? So apparently there was some form of a breakdown, a mental collapse. I think he tried to live on the streets. What's just always stuck out and has been very confusing for me personally is, did he drown himself? Did he drown himself? Why Why did he end up in a canal? Why? Why? I think that's just the overarching question. And his last conversation was him describing somebody in a movie who only knew struggle and lost his life in a moment where he finally thought the struggle would end. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what anybody does with that kind of information and how you apply it to the context of the fact that they're no longer with us under the, what I've shared here. Just decided to go off into the, when I heard he was found in a canal, I grew up in an area in Florida, in a trailer park, surrounded by a canal. It was like a moat. There was one way in, one way out. So I just imagined this canal, and I imagined his body under it, lifeless. I just can't understand how does that happen. I can't imagine anybody deciding to drown themselves. I'm trying to recall if his brother told me like he could or could not swim. I don't remember. But what I do, something I do like to do is utilize this little vlog nonsense and remember things and put them out there. And maybe there's a day where I won't be able to remember so many people that I've come across in my life, and this is my way to honor them by sharing their story while maintaining some level of, respect for the family by changing the names to the best of my ability. But that's just a mystery I'm never going to be able to solve, and I just thought about it a lot on the long drive to work today. It's just a head scratcher. But he decided to spend like one of his last times reaching out to another person with me, to talk to me. And something that replays over and over was my interpretation of the character in the movie who had that fleeting moment of happiness. Was as I described it, Dayron went, I just remember the purest like moment of silence, and then he went, wow. And that wow, as I just tried to describe it, because it sounded just so genuine. It sounded so genuine, so childlike. It sounded like, a kid in a candy store seeing the ultimate prize that he wanted to win. Like I thought I thought it cured his, in that moment, whatever he was struggling with, whatever demons came up. But we just never know. Everybody is wearing some kind of mask. We all every day say we're okay, or we hear from others everything's okay, I'm fine, and we go on. I know this is like an overkill sentiment, I think, in my life. So many people that I've known that are not here under circumstances similar, just it is alarming how many people I know that are not here anymore. It's a real testament to our generation. Dayron was in his 20s. He was a little younger than myself, just a little bit. And that's how Dayron went out. That was the story of his death. I wish I could tell you more about his life. I just remember very passionate. We would sometimes get heated because we had different opinions about politics, but we still had our fucking friendship at the very least. We both had a level of care for one another. We wanted to understand each other, and we didn't let the difference of political ideologies become such a wall that we would not communicate. Maybe that's something that I should choose to remember of Dayron instead of his the way his story ended. Alright, that's what I wanted to share. That's all I wanted to share. I can say his first name. His first name. This is another one, and how many? It's not about me. How many people have I lost? sounds so selfish. I lost something. They lost their lives. The family lost a son, a daughter. But we're hitting double digits, man. I think I flippantly try to say, what is it? Is it 6? Is it 9? Is it 12? I think, we're hitting like this is 10 or 11 souls that are no longer living this life that I knew, that shared moments with me and had the greatest of hearts, but knew the roughest of struggles. And I still know some of you. I'm not the best friend that I used to be. When I was younger, I don't stay in touch. I disconnect. I'll isolate in my own way. I just hope that you all know, if you ever made it clear that you really, really need to speak to me, I would drop everything. If it was really that important, I would drop everything, and we do our best for one another. And let's try to wear our humanity, or the true essence of our humanity, and the things that make us, human, the best things that make us human. Let's try to always maybe focus on that more so than the things that divide us. What was the original intent of the channel name, Progressive and Patriot? My original idea, two things that you never think would go together because we need to cohabitate. We need to be able to unify. Don't focus on the things that divide us. Let us try to focus on the things that unite us, so we can never surrender the art of conversation. That was the optimism behind the name Progressive Patriot. I hope that optimism is still somewhat as strong as it was when I invented it. Off to work. Take care.